This program is sponsored by Total Fitness. It's not a weight loss program, it's a way of life.
Welcome to Kaná One-on-One. I'm your host, Lauren Karonhiarónkwas McComber. In studio with us right now is re-elected Council Chief Gina Deer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I would really like to know, after everything that's happened over the past year with the membership issue and a lot of the, hot water you landed in, what made you decide to run for council again?
Well, actually, I did a lot of soul searching on the issue, and it wasn't because, that I couldn't handle it. It was a question of, did I want to handle it? I started politics on a very sorrowful note and a very difficult time for me with the loss of my son. So it's been a very new life for me, you could say. Mm-hmm. And you kind of do a lot of soul searching. I've remained really busy in this job. I found that I had gained a lot of knowledge and had some achievements, though politics is a very slow process. But you kind of start to evaluate things in your life when you've been through what I've been through. And I asked myself, did I really want to put myself through this? Mm-hmm. And I spoke with my father, as a matter of fact, on the subject, because he knows a lot about how I am work-wise. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, he said, there are other things you could do. He said, what do you see yourself doing? So I explained a couple of jobs that I had an opportunity that was offered to me, and other jobs that were open that I could have applied for. And he said, you know what, you won't be happy. And I just needed to hear somebody say that to me, because it's true. Because I love what I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. It's been a very difficult road. It hasn't been easy. This is the second time that I've had a complaint against me. And I just felt it was very harsh to have an act of censure passed against me when one was not required. And I totally understand the fact that, yes, the table felt it was necessary, and that, some community members were misunderstood my intentions, Mm-hmm. So it was done. But at the same time, like I said, I had to do a lot of soul searching, and as an individual, you want to contribute to your community. Mm-hmm. I have my children here, I have my grandchildren here, and when I look at the future for them, and I see what's coming down, from government, it scares me. Our rights and our privileges are being eroded every day, and the government is finding ways to remove those rights from us. Mm-hmm. And they're very creative at that, as we've seen with the C10, the passing of the act of C10, and the C51 now when it comes to protesting. I mean, Mm-hmm. That's how we get our messages across. And now they're trying to, take that away and label us as terrorists. So the whole thing really scares me. So I felt it was very important that I remain involved for those reasons. I want to see a future here for all of our children. Like they say, the seventh generation. Mm-hmm. Well, we need to save things for that seventh generation. And that's the recognition of the unique First Nations people that we are. Mm-hmm. And we're not Canadian citizens. We've heard that from the minister coming right out of Valcour's mouth, saying through our membership, things will not be accepted in Canada Mm-hmm. for Canadians as this membership code that they don't, want to recognize. Mm-hmm. For me, well, you're referring to us as though we're Canadians, and we're not. And I think that's the message that has to be sent home, that, you know what, we are not Canadian, we're the First Nations people, we're Kahnawake, we're the Mohawks, and we do have a right to decide on our own future.
While running, did you have any fear that you wouldn't be reelected?
Well, that's always at the back of your mind, of course, in light of everything that had happened. But I do feel that I had good support within the community, because people know that I genuinely care about everybody. They may not agree with my views, but they know that my concern is for all of Kahnawake. and my support that I had was very vocal, along with the economic development. I've been working side by side with certain individuals that have come to me and requested my help, and then, they tell me, okay, I talk with, different divisions in the community. Let's face it, there are different divisions within the community, and people do recognize the work that you have done, and I think that's important. That you may not agree with everything that I do, but all in all, you see that my best interest is for the community as a whole, and that I'm here to do the work that needs to be done.
So when you got reelected, how did you feel?
It felt really good, but at the same time, I was a little, I guess, excited at the same time to say, like, there's some changes. It comes with a little bit of sorrow to let go of two of the individuals that will no longer be with us for the next 3 years. Both Michael and Lloyd have great corporate knowledge. I worked alongside them for the last 3 years, so it's a big loss for the community. But at the same time, we also have two members that were formerly on council before, and with Joe, Joe Norton. He talks a lot about a jurisdictional push, and that is the original reason why I got involved in politics. I feel that we need to push back. I feel that our rights have been eroded. And the government, says that, okay, we need to sit down and negotiate in good faith. But when they sit down at the table, they sit down and look at things like a business transaction. Give them as least as possible, and we keep as much as we can. But if they were to sit down and do it from a moral aspect, they'd be saying, what can we give you? And then we'll give you a little more.
So we're going to take a quick break. I'm Lauren Karonhiarónkwas McComber. This is Ganadago One-on-One. We'll be right back.
This program is sponsored by Total Fitness. It's not a weight loss program, it's a way of life.
Welcome back to Ganadago One-on-One. In studio right now is Chief Gina Deer. We were talking a bit about how you felt when you got reelected and some of the things that Joe Norton will be focusing on that you're very enthusiastic about. And one was jurisdiction.
Definitely. I mean, we need that jurisdictional push. It's very difficult to sit back and wait. And, I think Kahnawake has been very patient, especially if we look at the land issue on the Highway 30 and the returning lands. There's now a court case by the surrounding mayors that has put everything on hold. And it's just not acceptable. Because if we look at the Highway 30 and the utilization of that highway in order to bring business and economic development, we're not able to do that according to this court case. Yet Bahornwa is looking at different projects and some of the very same projects that we are looking at. So they're going to get a jump on these things. And it's very disturbing to me to think that the government is just going to sit back and say, well, we can't do anything because of, this court case. Whereas Kahnawake is saying, you know what, it's our land, it's our rights. And we see that some people have already started utilizing some of that land by planting out there. And I think that's what we need to do. It's our land, and we need to take possession of that land and not wait for a piece of paper from an outside government to say that we can utilize it.
So how do you feel with Joe Norton sitting in as Grand Chief now?
Well, I don't know Joe that well. I've worked with him over the last 3 years on the Indigenous Elders Council on a couple of little projects. I know that he's been involved the entire time with working on First Nations issues. He hasn't been away from that. And I did go to him on the whole membership issue, him and Andrew DeLille Sr., to get some background information. And he's very knowledgeable. He hasn't lost any of, the, I guess, corporate knowledge, you could say. It's all still there. So it's quite exciting to work with somebody who has that sort of history and has the, I guess, jurisdictional push at heart, and that's what's exciting for me.
I asked Chief Karonhiarónkwas Sky Deer this question. This is the first time that there's 5 women on the council table. How do you feel that will add to the decision-making process?
Well, for me, it's very exciting to see that many women at the council table, and historically they say we are a matriarchal society, so I think this is getting back to that by having women as decision makers at the council table. Not only that, I find the common theme with us is we are all very strong, vocal women. And I think that is going to definitely get the message across. You know, we're not women who just sit back and accept if we feel that, you know, something needs to be said or something has to be put out there. I find that we're all up to task. We look at Gus, who has the membership portfolio, myself on tobacco, and Rhonda on labor. They're very controversial issues that have happened in the community, and it's women who hold those files.
So what made you get involved with politics in the first place?
Again, I'll go back to the jurisdiction. You know, I see the erosion of the rights and our jurisdiction, and I find that we need to ensure that what we have today maintains and push that. You know, we look at what we have around us as far as hospital and policing and all these things that we have. It's been a big fight to gain all these things. We look at the Mercier Bridge, the fight that we've had to maintain the bridge. And for myself, you know, there's also the issue of tax rights. We look at the people in the community who do business now, and they're getting assessments from government. And you know what? We're not a tax collecting community for the Canadian government. We never have been, and there's nothing that says we need to be. So these issues that have been coming in and slowly infringing upon the jurisdiction of the community, and being in business myself, it's been a great concern. And even at the individual level, people who use their status cards for tax exemption when they go shopping, you know, a lot of places are not taking it. That's not right. You know, we've had an agreement with Quebec specifically, and they're not enforcing that. So we're going to have to pressure the government for things like that. And we have tax issues, definitely, and the government says, well, it's not the right of the non-native, and you're not charging them tax, so they're not happy. Well, the way I view it, that's your taxing system. That's not our taxing system. And because you've said we have a tax benefit, you know, it's still not buying into how we conduct ourselves. We've never conducted ourselves on a tax system. And I don't know where in history we've ever made an agreement to say that we would. So why are we receiving these assessments in businesses? So we have a big problem. They slowly are coming into like the community and creeping in, and we've seen it with the tobacco industry, of course. They've had people charged on tobacco charges, and they've only conducted business on the reserve. So that's an infringement. Very concerning.
So aside from that issue, what other issues would you like to focus on over the next 3 years?
The economic development aspect. I think that we need to help our local entrepreneurs. I think we need to focus on supporting each other. We were looking at creating a Chamber of Commerce style organization that was recently proposed by some community members. So I'd like to follow up on that. I think it's very important that we build some sort of economy other than the tobacco industry, which, I mean, we have established that here. And
do you have any ideas as to what other types of industries we could grow?
Through David Untitled, there's several things that, you know, are on the books, and I'm hoping to see that come to light. You know what, with the gas station, that was one of the issues, you know. We're hoping to see a gas station, community gas station, truck stop, which would bring in some restaurants, bring in maybe, I'm trying to remember the actual phrase, like a cargo holding area, shipment. We're looking at shipment. You know, we've been talking with the town of Ville St. Catherine, you know, at their port and extending that port. I mean, there's several possibilities for this community. What they will be, well, you know, the community needs to decide what kind of direction they want to go, but we need to build an economy here for the future. Our children need jobs, and they don't want to go to New York and be away from their families. People want to be home now. They want to raise their children. Fathers want to participate in their lives, and we should give them that opportunity.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we sign off?
Just that I'm very flattered that I was reelected. I'm very happy to be serving this community, and I need input from people, and I'm very open. I'll meet with anybody on any issue.
Okay, Karonhiarónkwas for being here today.
Thanks.
This is Kaná One-on-One. I'm your host, Lauren Karonhiarónkwas McComber. Joining us today was Chief Gina Deer. Karonhiarónkwas, onigiwahi.
This program is sponsored by Total Fitness. It's not a weight loss program, it's a way of life.